Ever wondered what happens when a royal family decides to quit the pomp and just keep the circumstance? In Sweden, the answer looks like this. A king worth 70 million who's cool with his son being a graphic designer. A crown princess who probably knows which Allen key fits which IKEA shelf. And a family that treats their palaces more like fancy apartments than fairy tale castles. Indeed, while other monarchies desperately cling to their golden carriages, Sweden's royals are busy proving you can be a billionaire dynasty without acting like one. They've cracked the code on something revolutionary, how to be royal in an age when nobody's buying the whole divine right thing anymore. Thus, in today's episode, we'll feature their fascinating saga from lowly French soldiers to the very heights of Scandinavian power, as we describe the royal family that quit their billion-dollar lifestyle. In 2024, the Swedish royal family stands as living proof that you can have your smorgasbord and eat it too. Indeed, King Carl XVI Gustaf sits atop his modest, by royal standards, $70 million fortune, running what might be the most down-to-earth monarchy this side of IKEA. Now, Crown Princess Victoria has eschewed the usual royal pomp for life at Haga Palace, where one imagines the furniture required actual assembly. The family's wealth comes from a mix of investments and state support, though they've managed to avoid the gold-plated excesses of their European cousins. They've got their pick of palaces, naturally, Drottningholm for Netflix and chill, Stockholm Palace for the serious business of looking regal. But what sets these royals apart is their distinctly unroyal approach to life. Princess Madeleine, worth a cool $10 million, splits her time between Swedish winters and Florida sunshine, can you blame her? While Prince Carl Philip moonlights as a graphic designer, perhaps the only royal who could actually design his own coat of arms. Their jewellery collection reads like a historical fashion show, featuring the Napoleonic cut-steel tiara, apparently Napoleon had a thing for Swedish bling, and the Braganza tiara, which make regular appearances at state functions. Though one suspects they're just as comfortable in a beanie. The family has mastered the art of being royal in the age of Instagram, walking that fine line between ancient tradition and modern accessibility. They've had their wobbles, mind you. Trying to modernize a monarchy is rather like teaching your grandmother to use TikTok. But they've managed to pull it off, creating what might be Europe's most sensible royal family. In an era when many monarchies seem about as relevant as a fax machine, the Swedish royals have found their sweet spot. Just enough tradition to keep the crown jewels sparkling, but modern enough to know their way around an iPhone. It's a masterclass in monarchy for the modern age, served with a side of Swedish practicality. But to understand how Europe's oldest ruling royal house achieved this balance between tradition and modernity, we must first examine the family's origins and the unexpected path that led a French revolutionary soldier's descendant to establish one of Europe's most enduring dynasties. In the late 18th century, as revolutions swept through France and reshaped Europe, an unlikely figure emerged who would transform Sweden's future. And while most royal dynasties traced their roots to medieval nobles, Sweden's current royal family began with a remarkable outlier. A French lawyer's son who rose through Napoleon's army to eventually become king of a foreign land. This is the story of family ancestor Jean-Baptiste Bernadotte, whose extraordinary journey from modest beginnings in southern France to the throne of Sweden would establish one of Europe's most enduring royal houses. Now, Jean-Baptiste Bernadotte's path to the Swedish throne began in Pau, France, where he was born in 1763 to a tailor. This humble beginning gave no hint that he would one day found a dynasty that still reigns in Sweden more than 2 centuries later. In 1780, Bernadotte enlisted as a common soldier in the French army. The French Revolution created unprecedented opportunities for advancement, and by 1794, his military talents had earned him the rank of general. His rising star caught Napoleon Bonaparte's attention, leading to his appointment as Marshal of France, though their relationship would prove complex and sometimes turbulent. Sweden's monarchy faced a succession crisis in 1810. The aging King Charles XIII was childless, and the nation needed strong leadership during the turbulent Napoleonic period. The Swedish Parliament's unusual solution was to look beyond their borders for a successor, eventually setting their sights on Bernadotte. The choice of a French general as heir to the Swedish throne reflected both pragmatic politics and hope for the future. Sweden needed military expertise and diplomatic connections to navigate the complex European political landscape. Bernadotte's successful military career and diplomatic experience made him an attractive candidate. Upon accepting the role of Crown Prince, Bernadotte embraced Swedish customs and traditions, including adopting Lutheranism as his faith. Taking the name Charles John, Carl Johan, he quickly immersed himself in Swedish affairs, bringing his administrative experience to his new role. His position as Crown Prince tested his diplomatic skills immediately. During the Napoleonic Wars, he made strategic decisions based on Swedish interests rather than French loyalties, demonstrating his commitment to his adopted nation. These choices helped secure Sweden's position during a crucial period of European history. When he ascended to the throne as Charles XIV John in 1818, he became the first Bernadotte to rule Sweden. His reign marked the beginning of significant changes in Swedish society, though these transformations would unfold gradually over many decades through the combined efforts of multiple actors in Swedish political life. The former French soldier had achieved something remarkable, establishing a new royal dynasty in a foreign land. And as the 19th century progressed, Sweden faced the challenges of industrialization and social transformation. Thus, the new dynasty would need to prove it could adapt to these changes while maintaining its role in Swedish society. King Carl XVI. Gustaf's ascension to the Swedish throne in 1973 marked a significant moment in the monarchy's evolution. His motto, "For Sweden, with the times," reflected a commitment to balancing tradition with necessary adaptation to contemporary Swedish society. The most notable change during his early reign came in 1980, when Sweden modified its succession laws to implement absolute primogeniture. This meant that Crown Princess Victoria would remain heir to the throne, regardless of the birth of her younger brother Carl Philip. While not the first European monarchy to make such a change, this decision reflected Sweden's commitment to gender equality. The royal family's approach to education signaled another shift in royal tradition. Crown Princess Victoria attended public schools, including Enskilda Gymnasiet in Stockholm. Prince Carl Philip pursued his interest in design at university, while Princess Madeleine studied art history and social studies. This emphasis on formal education and professional development marked a departure from traditional royal upbringing. The monarchy's modernization became particularly evident in matters of marriage. Crown Princess Victoria's relationship with Daniel Westling, who worked as a personal trainer and owned a successful gym business, initially raised eyebrows in traditional circles. However, their marriage in 2010 represented a new era where personal compatibility and shared values took precedence over aristocratic lineage. Similarly, the marriages of Prince Carl Philip to Sophia Hellqvist and Princess Madeleine to Christopher O'Neill demonstrated the family's acceptance of partners from non-royal backgrounds. Each of these unions brought new perspectives and experiences to the royal family, though not without careful consideration of their roles within the monarchy. The Swedish royal family maintained their official residences while making efforts to make the monarchy more accessible to the public. Several areas of royal palaces were opened for public viewing, though the family retained appropriate private spaces for their personal use and official functions. Throughout the 1990s and early 2000s, the Swedish monarchy continued to evolve. While maintaining ceremonial traditions, they adapted to changing social expectations and increased media scrutiny. The royal children participated in public events and formal duties while pursuing their education and personal interests. As the new millennium approached, the Swedish monarchy faced the challenge of maintaining its relevance in an increasingly democratic society. The next generation of Swedish royals would need to navigate the demands of modern media while preserving the dignity and purpose of their historic institution. The 2010s marked a period of significant change for the Swedish monarchy. The royal family embraced social media and digital communication, while carefully maintaining the balance between public interest and private life. Crown Princess Victoria and Prince Daniel, parents to Princess Estelle, born in 2012, and Prince Oscar, born in 2016, began sharing more of their official work through palace-approved digital channels. Princess Madeleine's move to Florida with her husband Chris O'Neill and their children represented a new chapter in royal life. While her relocation sparked public discussion about the nature of modern royal duties, she continued to participate in official engagements when in Sweden, while building a life abroad. A watershed moment came in October 2019 when King Carl XVI Gustaf announced changes to the royal house structure. His decision meant that the children of Princess Madeleine and Prince Carl Philip would no longer hold the style of Royal Highness or be expected to perform official duties, though they retained their titles as Duke/Duchess. This restructuring aligned with broader European trends towards streamlined monarchies. During the COVID-19 pandemic, the royal family adapted their roles to meet unprecedented circumstances. While maintaining appropriate constitutional boundaries, they supported national morale through virtual engagements and carefully considered public appearances. Crown Princess Victoria conducted digital visits to various institutions, demonstrating the monarchy's ability to maintain public connections even during crisis. The monarchy's evolution continued with Crown Princess Victoria's appointment as Goodwill Ambassador for the United Nations Development Programme in 2023, highlighting the family's commitment to global sustainability and development issues. Meanwhile, Prince Carl Philip and Princess Sophia focused their efforts on contemporary challenges, including digital citizenship and youth welfare. Princess Estelle's occasional presence at carefully selected public events offered glimpses of the monarchy's future, though her participation remains appropriately limited given her young age. The palace has maintained a careful balance between preparing the next generation and protecting their childhood. Throughout these changes, the Swedish royal family has demonstrated how a traditional institution can adapt to contemporary expectations while maintaining its essential ceremonial role. Their approach to modernization has focused on making the monarchy more accessible and relevant, while preserving its dignity and constitutional position. As the royal family continued to evolve, they faced the ongoing challenge of defining their role in an increasingly digital and democratic society, while upholding the traditions that have sustained the Swedish monarchy through generations of change. In 2024, the Swedish monarchy stands at a pivotal moment. Crown Princess Victoria's preparation to eventually succeed her father represents not just a generational change, but a continuation of the monarchy's evolution. Her future accession will mark a significant milestone as she becomes Queen of Sweden through the modern law of absolute primogeniture. The Crown Princess's 2023 appointment as Goodwill Ambassador for the UN Development Programme exemplifies how the royal family has expanded its traditional role to include engagement with global issues. This appointment builds on the family's history of balancing ceremonial duties with contemporary causes. The next generation's role continues to develop carefully. Princess Estelle, though still a child, is being gradually introduced to public life through selected appearances, always with consideration for her age and need for a normal childhood. The palace maintains a careful balance between preparing her for future responsibilities while protecting her youth. The 2019 decision to streamline the royal house proved significant in modernizing the institution. By adjusting the status of Princess Madeleine's and Prince Carl Philip's children, who retained their ducal titles while stepping back from royal duties, the monarchy adapted to contemporary expectations about the size and cost of royal institutions. The family continues to evolve its role in Swedish society. Their engagement with various causes and organizations demonstrates how a traditional monarchy can remain relevant in a modern democratic state. The balance between maintaining historic traditions and embracing necessary changes has helped define their current position. Victoria's eventual accession will add another chapter to Sweden's royal story, building on centuries of tradition while incorporating modern values and approaches. Her preparation for the role, including her extensive education and training in statecraft, reflects both the serious nature of her future responsibilities and the monarchy's commitment to professional competence. The Swedish royal family's journey demonstrates how an ancient institution can maintain its core purpose while adapting to changing times. Their approach to monarchy, balancing tradition with modernization, continues to evolve as they prepare for future generations to carry forward their constitutional role in Swedish society. And now, we'd love to hear from you. Is the story of the Swedish royal family, from French soldiers to monarchs, an inspiring rags to riches tale, or just lucky timing? Let us know in the comments below, And thanks for joining us for another episode of Old Money Luxury. Cheers. Until next time.